Good morning, world. I am Judy, your web-based therapist, making therapy accessible and convenient for our clients in Florida and New York, and of course, sharing information worldwide. Today, I wanted to talk about 5 goal-setting tips for people with ADHD, but I'm not even sure if they're really goal-setting tips as they are 5 things to do when pursuing goals, because people with ADHD, one of the things that they do is get great, brilliant ideas, but they have so many of them that they start working on one, and then before you know it, they're on idea number 37, and the first 36 are just sitting there. So today we're talking about 5 things that you can do when you're working on goals. First is to make sure that you're scheduling times to review ideas and revisit projects. Because one thing that people with ADHD do a lot is that they'll start working on one thing, lose interest because they have a brand new shiny idea and they start working on the brand new shiny idea. So if you're scheduling time to revisit ideas and to review ideas and revisit projects, that gives you an opportunity to at some point think or get back to an idea or a project that you were working on before that you got sidetracked or you got distracted from. So make sure that you're scheduling time to review your ideas. And I mentioned before in another video how important it is to make sure that you have some place that you're writing things down. That way they're not fleeting, so that, after you get one idea, you don't lose it when the next one comes along. So make sure that you're reviewing those and revisiting projects to see if there's still some interest in project A or project B that you left behind. And maybe if there is enough interest, you can start working on it again, which brings me to 2. Plug things into your schedule when they're on your mind. I've mentioned how important it is to have a schedule, to have some way that you're keeping track of the things that you're doing or the things that you have to do. So if you're looking at your list of ideas or your projects that you've kind of stepped away from and you realize, hey, I really want to work on this. So schedule a time, look at your schedule and schedule a time. Hey, on Monday from 3 to 7 or from 2 to 6, whatever your time is, I'm going to be working on that. But make sure that whenever it is on your mind, when you first think of it, make sure that you schedule it. 3, have an alert system to let you know when you get off track. Maybe the alert system is going to be that you have a weekly review session that that helps you track your project, or a weekly meeting where you're meeting with a mentor, maybe you're meeting with an accountability partner, some way that gets you back thinking of, hey, am I on track or have I gone off track? Have an alert system. Maybe you have things scheduled in your calendar, and after you're looking and you realize, hey, I have not checked off Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So if you have not checked off Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, that tells you, hey, maybe you are off track. So an accountability partner is a great alert system, but sometimes it may be a mentor. Sometimes it's you, because not everyone has access to an outside person who knows what they're working on. So find a way to put something in place, whatever works for you. With ADHD, I always say it's what works for you that is the best way to do it. Find an alert system that will let you know that when you go off track. That way, when you know you go off track, you can come back. 4, work on 1 to 3 things and schedule them. One of the things that many people with ADHD experience is that they have difficulty sustaining a great level of interest in one thing over a long period. So one way to break that up could be to have a couple things that you're working on. But I definitely do not recommend going more than 3 things. My choice would be to cap it at 2, but I know some people need more than just 1 or 2 things. But at least cap it at 3 things that you have. Hey, I'm working on project A, B, C. And you schedule a specific time for project A, project B, project C. You schedule specific blocks of time for each one of them in your daily, weekly agenda. That way you have a dedicated time to work on each one of those projects. Finally, make goals tangible. Great ideas. I mean, you will get some of the most brilliant ideas that were ever thought of. However, ideas are difficult to implement. When you create something that is tangible, something that you can see, something that you can touch, where you determine, hey, my goal is to do this. My goal is to build a spaceship. I don't know. Maybe that is your goal, to build a spaceship. Maybe your goal is to create some type of web project. Whatever it is, make it something that you can see, something that you can touch, something that you can feel. Because once you have an actual thing where there's something to see, there's a physical or a visual representation of what that goal is going to be, it's easier to work on it, and it's easier to focus on it. Because if it's just an idea, there's not really tangible goals are easier to actualize, to create action steps for. When you just have an idea, sometimes it's difficult to figure out, okay, how do I go from idea? Okay, what do I do with this idea? But taking the time to create an actual, tangible, visible goal makes it easier for you to create your objectives, to set your action steps, and actually work on your goal. Quick recap. 1, schedule time to review ideas and revisit projects, because there are a few projects that you started working on, but we are going to get back to eventually one day before the earth, one of them days. 2, plug things into your schedule when they're on your mind. Don't wait and say, okay, I'm going to think about it, or I'm going to do it when I get plugged. As soon as you're thinking about it, when it is on your mind, plug it into your calendar, because otherwise you'll probably forget. 3, have an alert system to let you know when you get off track, whether that is someone that you're checking in with, the way you check off your work that you're doing, whatever it is, have a system so that you will know and notice when you're off track. 4, work on 1 to 3 things at a time, because a lot of times people with ADHD seem to need to have things broken up. But if you start going and working on too many things, then at some point it gets chaotic and you start spinning your wheels and not really doing much because you're trying to do too much. But 1 to 3 things that you schedule that each have their own block of time in your calendar is manageable. And finally, make sure that you make your goal tangible, because when you have something that you can visualize, something that you can physically grasp, where it makes it easier to create your objectives, create your action steps, which will lead to actually working on the goal. As always, if you or someone you know happens to be going through something that's more than you can handle, please remember that even right now when things are so chaotic, there are professionals like myself who are providing remote services, who are available, able, and willing to help with whatever it is you may have going on. So please figure out who those people are in your community so that if you need them, you can reach out and get the help that you need. And that is all we have for today. Good morning, world. Have an awesome day.